But yeah, it's gonna, I love, especially move to Washington, USC, and Virginia Tech, and hard places. Fully vaccinated. Okay.
Okay, welcome to the October 26th meeting of the Board of Zoning Adjustment. We look like we have a packed house tonight, so we'll get right to it. If you haven't been here before, there are two types of cases: appeals and requests of warning.
Turn up your mic.
Okay, we hear appeals and requests of variance requests, I should say. If you are planning to testify tonight, we have a sign-in sheet at the front. We ask that you try to sign your name and help court reporter getting spellings correct. The mask kind of muffles people's speech. Try to get that correct. If you know you're planning on testifying, I will swear everybody in as a group so that when you come forward, you can just say your name and say that you've already been sworn in. So if you know you're going to testify, please stand, raise your right hand. You promise that the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, nothing but the truth. Please say, I do.
I do.
Thank you. Applicants have 5 minutes to speak. Those from the community who wish to speak about the application will be given 3 minutes. I will note that if you want to get the Duncan factors on the record, you must do that within your 5 minutes. I would not allow you to spend your 5 minutes and then say at the end, oh, you want extra time because now you want to get Duncan factors on the record. Please plan your testimony accordingly. If we have preliminary matters, we can hear those first.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. We do have 2 tabling requests. Bill, the first one is number 3767 McAllister.
He's on his phone. That's something where we can shift to later and be.
Okay. We'll cancel that. That's not tabling.
Oh, let me say this too. So there's 3 of us here tonight. And to get approval, you have to get 3 votes. That means you have to get all of us tonight. We are pretty transparent in how we are thinking about your case. You can ask us how we're thinking. If you feel that we are leaning towards a no, and you do not want us to take the vote, because if we take a vote on your case, you cannot bring it back to us unless there's a material, significant change in your facts. If you feel like you would rather have the benefit of all 5 members here, then you can ask for tabling at a different date where there are more people here. So I just want to put that out there so that you can act accordingly. It's just the scheduling for tonight, we just have 3 people.
And Madam Chair, since you brought that up, there are a couple of them that I know I can have support right now. They're issues 5 and 6. So if those people want to think about tabling, they're not going to get 3 votes. So.
Okay.
Madam Chair, there are guests in the next room. I'll make that announcement to them
Okay.
after our preliminary. So
Okay.
The next preliminary matter is number 15. Michael, who's that address?
$132 Whiteheimer Avenue.
Is there a mic up there? Yeah, good. State your name for the records, please.
Tyler Coker. Jeffrey L. Brown, attorney for the applicant. We both have been sworn.
Okay,
We would just request a tabling.
okay. Which one?
Number 15 on Weisheimer.
Okay, Okay,
I'll move the table.
Second.
okay. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak about whether or not this case should be tabled? Okay, hearing none, are we ready to call the roll?
Mr. Lovely,
Yes.
Mr. Demora.
Yes.
Table, thank you.
One further preliminary matter, 705 Mohawk Street, EZA 20-108. The applicant would like to extend the board order for an additional year.
Sir, please state your name for the record, or whether you've been sworn in.
Bill Hugus, William Hughes Architects, and yes, I have.
Okay. Please state your request.
Everybody should know that this year has been a contracting nightmare. We also, in doing that, for small projects, it's been very difficult. We found a sewer in the yard from a neighbor. We've had to negotiate through the neighbor and the sewer department to get it moved, and that's eaten up pretty much our year. So I respectfully request a one-year extension or 6 months.
Okay, extension for 1 year requested,
So moved.
moved,
Second.
moved and seconded, please call the roll.
Mr. Demora.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey.
Yes, extension granted, thank you.
Thank you.
That is all for preliminary matters.
We have,
There were two appeals scheduled, Madam Chair. First, appeal on Wyandotte. The applicant has withdrawn their appeal.
okay,
Please only the appeal for East 13.
okay, will the property owner and the city Columbus come forward for 149 East 13th Avenue? You need more chairs, just pull one up.
You want to go to pass out the information now?
Well, I think she's going to swear the engineering out. That's for the
The city zone enforcement is.
Right.
Yeah, can you go first?
Sure. Did you want me to pass out the information?
Yes,
first?
please.
Okay.
My name's Kevin Humphreys, council. Like that. Vice President. So like that.
Oh, they're actually wanting the table.
Okay.
I guess you have to agree to that, so.
So I would not like to table it because this order was written almost a year ago.
Okay.
However, everyone's got a right to an appeal. So I would like to, if they want to table it for another month, that's fine with me.
So what happens? You have to have 3 votes to vote to table this or what? I'm confused. So if we don't want to vote to table, it can't be tabled? I believe so.
If we, what was the
Well,
question?
the board would have to make a motion to table, if we second it and then vote it. Motion failed, we would have to hear.
So we've heard from one party, we've heard from the other.
And I have been sworn in.
Well, I guess to table. All right, I'll move to table.
Second.
Moved and seconded, can you call the roll?
Mr. Lovely.
Yes.
Mr. Demora.
Yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey.
Yes. Here at the next available meeting.
So I think it's easier for you to keep it than me.
I really need you guys to use your mic because I'm having trouble hearing everybody.
So you couldn't hear me?
Well, when you say no or yes, like, I'm good, but when you're talking, I'm not.
Okay.
It's last Thanksgiving.
Okay, Okay, you ready for the regular? Okay, so we'll jump into our regular, cases. Case number 1, 411 South 17th Street, 411 South 17th Street. Will the applicant please come forward?
Hello,
Hi, state your name for the record and whether you've been sworn in.
yeah, Kevin Kinney from Trad Architects, I haven't sworn.
Okay, we'll hear from the city, then we'll come back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's BZA 21-014 at 411 South 17th Street, located at the southwest corner of South 17th Street and East Angler Street. So the Near East Area Commission and recently rezoned to the I Institutional District. The site consists of a 0.24 acre undeveloped corner parcel that was recently rezoned to the I Institutional District to accommodate the proposed use. Surrounding the site to the north is an electric substation enclosure. To the south and west are single unit and 2 unit dwellings. To the east are parking lots and a parking garage that serve Nationwide Children's Hospital. The applicant is requesting a special permit and variances to construct a similar enclosure to that north of the site to screen and protect 2 portable backup power generators that will serve Nationwide Children's Hospital. A special permit is required as the generators are considered portable buildings. Variances are needed to reduce the lot area, frontage, building setback, and side yard requirements of the I Institutional District. Planning is supportive of this proposal due to the adjacent lot to the north having a related utility use and landscaping and screening being provided adjacent to residential uses. The Near East Area Plan states that the intrusion of new non-residential uses into residential areas is discouraged, but it is recognized that neither the city nor neighborhood stop proposals for new non-residential uses in residential areas. At this point, due to the close proximity of single unit residential dwellings, planning encourages compatibility with existing neighborhood and request significant screening on all sides to minimize negative impacts to the surrounding residential neighborhood, which the applicant has done. The Division of Traffic Management has no comment regarding this application. The Near East Area Commission recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval as a special permit and variances as the adjacent lot to the north is related utility use and adequate landscaping and screening have been provided adjacent to the residential uses, and we would just condition this on the landscaping and screening showed on the plan being committed to. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Mr. Kindley, are you in agreement with the condition of the landscaping as indicated on the plan?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to this application?
I think that covered it.
Do you have any questions for the applicant?
Madam Chair, I do. So you have a distribution rate case pending before the Public Utilities Commission currently, correct?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
You have a distribution rate case pending before the Public Utilities Commission?
Not that I'm aware of.
You do.
Okay.
Is this, well, if you didn't know you had it, so the question I would have is so as part of a hospital system, you turn on the hospital system as well as, old age homes, et cetera, first. So my question to you is, a backup generator does not necessarily create the opportunity, well, I mean, it does create the opportunity to get the system up quickly. But I'm curious as to if you have the distribution case pending before the commission, how is this an issue for a backup generator that has to be located within the premises that we were talking about, given the fact that the distribution system should already have covered that?
It's a good question. I'm not familiar with the distribution case. That sounds like that's being handled by AEP directly. It doesn't involve me. My understanding of the purpose of these generators at this particular site is that it's based on a current agreement that AEP has with Nationwide Children, that they have to basically have this backup power available in the event that the main transmission lines that are coming into the adjacent property are under service, under repair, or not working.
Yeah. And I apologize. I was former chief of staff of the PCO. So when I say, I know you have a distribution rate case, I know you have a distribution rate case.
Okay. Sure.
But that leads to, I guess, part and parcel to what we actually do, which is, are we zoning this the right way, given what other entities are about to do, given your distribution rate case and system, and having to have that backup power that the PUCO also needs to guarantee. So I'm curious, my colleagues can, chime in, but I'm curious, given the fact that that is happening and it's moving forward, is this part and parcel to that process, or is this another step for AEP to then stick these generators that we approve into their next distribution case and make more money? Because you get approval for recovery of and on the asset if we approve those opportunities for the assets. But the obligation to serve is still on AEP.
Yeah, without knowing too much about the distribution case you're mentioning, I can't comment too drastically much on that. What I can comment on is what AEP has described to me, the purpose of this particular property is that it's solely, for the purpose of the portable generators.
Mm-hmm.
The likelihood and the longevity of when those generators will be there, they've said is very rarely. The likelihood that they would be needed, I guess I should say, is very rarely as well, because they're essentially a backup to existing backups they already have.
Yep.
So there is no current plans, as far as I understand from AEP, they don't own these generators now. These are generators they actually rent. So there's not a scenario that they've told me about now that they would get these generators and put them at a different site. The plan is only at this site, mostly because they have this space that we're applying for now. Also, the cost to basically set up and then tear down these portable generators is astronomical, like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it cannot be done quickly in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you.
And you have these same, backup generators other places on the site? Is that what you're saying?
No,
No, these are the only, okay.
that's correct.
Well, I'm asking a stupid question. I mean, you're an architect. I mean, how do you know do you know anything about what any of the stuff he actually asked you?
I don't know about the distribution case that he's mentioning. I'm here on basically behalf of the site and the enclosure that we.
So you have no idea about what, AP as a power company, you're an architect, so you design this stuff so to make it, so all is enclosed and everything, but you have no idea of anything he actually just asked.
Yeah, as far as the distribution case.
So, I mean, at least from my concern, when he brought up, I would be a little remiss to try to vote on this and such, if someone knows from AEP is here to answer a question.
Okay. I guess I need to ask, how is that distribution case tied to what we're seeking approval for today?
So the distribution utility, which is what you're talking about, which provides power to Nationwide Children's Hospital, right?
Okay.
So we can agree that the distribution utility provides that power. So the distribution utility is responsible for creating that power, and in the event of an outage, that power has to go to hospitals, nursing homes, extra first. So anytime there's an outage, they have to prioritize those entities. What you're suggesting is that you need backup generation in the form of these generators in the event that there could be an outage. And I'm suggesting that the distribution case that's pending should include all of that. And if it does, then AEP is gonna get return on and of that investment. And I don't know that you need us to do that because the system should handle it itself.
Yeah, so what I can answer based on what AEP told me is, and it gets tricky, I guess, these are generators, right? So
Yep.
inherently they are for backup purposes.
Correct.
However, they're not intended to be brought in like at a moment's notice if there's a storm event. And, and there's risk to the grid going down. They've told me that that's not possible.
So what is,
So
what is
these
the
are purely
purpose? Yeah.
these are purely to satisfy an agreement that AEP currently has with Nationwide, where there are, I believe, 3 main transmission lines that come into the site immediately to the north. And the agreement is that if any one of those particular 3 main transmission lines are going to be service of any kind, meaning they may go down or they may be taken down on purpose, these generators have to be in place to supplement that power. So it's not exactly it's not intended to be on an emergency basis, if that's what you're asking.
That's part and parcel of what I'm asking, but that also causes me concern that the load that Nationwide is servicing from AEP is not serviced even if, yes, one of those lines has to come down for servicing itself. That's the hospital, they should always be up. There should be no need for a backup because those lines should be guaranteed to that property.
Yeah, and what I've also been told is, Nationwide has its own backup power on site as well.
Yeah.
So
No,
the
I agree.
particular generators we're talking about now are like third, fourth, step, even more maybe down the line in terms of.
No, I understand, yeah. But I also think that is part and parcel to what the PUCO is currently doing, which is why, I don't know if we're first in this line or we should be last in this line, because it's still a pending case at the PUC.
Yeah, in terms of approval for this site, you're saying.
Yeah.
In terms of my role, this is the last thing.
No, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's not on you. I'm just curious about, the process of understanding there's these 2 cases going.
Yeah,
It sounds like you need somebody here from AEP that can speak about the distribution rate case and why these backup generators are needed in conjunction with that's needed.
okay. Sounds like it.
That's what it sounds like
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would move to table just
Yeah.
for the opportunity to have that dialogue because I know they're pretty far along in that distribution rate case. I just don't know where they're at.
Yeah, so you want to go back to the client and have the appropriate person present at the next hearing that can speak to that.
Is there a case number associated with that distribution rate case that you're?
There is, and I could not tell you off the top of my head what that is. But it's
Okay.
on the PCO DIS system. And if you send that to whoever at AEP, they will know the DIS system.
Is anybody here tonight to speak about this application?
I'll second his motion, by the way, sorry.
Okay, so, are you in agreement to the request to table?
Yeah, based on what you said previously about needing, more than all 3 votes.
Yeah. Okay. Request to table,
All right, Mr. Gamora,
Yes,
Mr. Walpley,
Yes.
Mayor Marvin.
yes. Table granted.
When's the next meeting?
4th Tuesday, November.
What was it? 4th Tuesday?
4th Tuesday, whatever.
November 23rd.
Thank you.
Um, 767 McAllister Avenue.
Oh, this one is,
Number 2.
this one was emailed to you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
Not taken now.
Oh, okay. 4645 Grove Road, I'm sorry. Did your name, what you been sworn?
Craig Moncrief, attorney for the applicant and owner.
Okay.
All right, 4645 Groves Road is located at the southwest corner of Groves Road and Eastland Commerce Center Drive. It's located within the Greater Southeast Area Commission. The plus or minus 7 acre site consists of one parcel developed with a 15,000 square foot warehouse building. Surrounding uses include light manufacturing to the east, north, and west, and multi-unit development to the south. And the site is subject to code violation number 2047-04446. The applicant is requesting a special permit to operate an impound lot and for a portable building to be used as a security building. Variances are requested to allow the current existing 6-foot chain link fence and landscaping instead of the required non-transparent fence, to reduce the separation distance from a residential district from 600 feet to 385 feet, to reduce the setback along Groves Road from 100 feet to 40 feet, to allow gravel as a property surface, including the parking area, to reduce the building setback from 125 feet to 119 feet for the warehouse and 57 feet for the 3 storage containers, to reduce the separation distance for storage from a residential zoning district from 100 feet to 25 feet, to reduce the required number of interior parking lot trees from 2 to 0, and to not provide parking lot landscaping between the right-of-way and the parking setback line. Council variance number CB 21-053 was approved on September 20th, 2021 to allow a junkyard, impound lot, or salvage yard in the M1 Code District. Columbus citywide planning policies state that parking lots should be screened from view from public right-of-way and adjacent development. Screening should include a combination of the following items: fence fabric, trees, shrubs, and other landscaping. After consultation with the city forester, planning is in support of this request, as planting trees in the Groves Road right-of-way is not recommended due to the presence of a swale. The Division of Traffic Management has reviewed the revised site plan and can support the request, and the Greater Southeast Area Commission can recommend approval of this request. Staff recommends approval, and while the C2P2 states that parking lots should be screened from view from public right-of-way and adjacent development, staff acknowledges that per the city forester, there is no viable location for street trees along Groves Road due to the presence of a swale, and thus staff can recommend approval with the following conditions. The applicant shall commit to the stamped site plan, and ingress egress to the site shall be paved up to 50 feet in the right-of-way line. And I'm here if you have any questions.
I have one question. I'm looking at the map, I'm assuming there is no residential anywhere close to this place?
Well, the residential from the variance that they're asking, it would be 385 feet.
Property to the south, if you go back to the aerial view. So you can see just,
Use the microphone, please.
sorry, the property to the south, that's an apartment complex down there. Yes, where the mouse is.
You're not screening that?
So there's fencing from there. If you go back to can you go back to the site plan? So what we're proposing is to only permit impounding in that area that's crosshatched. So it's a small area that would be 385 feet from the residential. In addition to that, there's significant elevation changes. There's a tree line adjacent to the residential to the south. There's also fencing. There's truck storage. So with all that, there's a fairly significant buffer there.
The residential's on this side?
This is.
Where the mouse is.
Okay. And you said there's already a tree line?
Yes.
Is there a picture of that?
That's this.
No, I mean, is there? Yeah.
No, you want the aerial, we can see the trees at the bottom there. So in the aerial though, you're not gonna have, I see like trucks everywhere. You're
Yeah,
not, I mean, you're not gonna have those trucks back there by the neighborhood right now?
No, that's an incorrect representation. There'll be at least 100 feet between, as code required, there'll be at least 100 feet up to the property line.
So what's the violation that you have now?
So he has impounding on the property currently. You can see a little bit, just the cars up there. To give you some background, this is the site of Eastland Crane and Towing. And if you go back to the site plan, you can see, so he was cited for impounding in that limited area, property zoned M1. And so what we're requesting is a special permit to permit that in that limited area. It's going to be a secondary use for the site. It's a tow truck facility, truck storage of open equipment. He's just looking to get a special permit to permit impounding just in that area. This is mostly a secondary use to, basically, he works with certain municipalities to, if there's a traffic accident or an OMVI, it's almost more of a holding lot. In addition, he's asking for a special permit for a portable building. This will be for a security building. You can see it kind of in the front of the lot on the site plan. Just for a use like this, a lot of storage on the site requires kind of 24/7 security.
So what's the guarantee that the activity is only gonna happen in that limited space?
We would commit to the site plan.
Is anybody here that wishes to speak about this application? May I ask any questions? Ready to call the question?
I'll call the question.
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Demora,
Yes.
Mr. Weatherly,
Yes.
Chair Plummer Bailey,
Yes. Special permit, variance is granted, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 767 McAllister Avenue.
Madam Chair, I believe the architect who has the only power of attorney for this case has still not arrived.
Okay.
I suggest we move it to the end of the regular agenda.
Okay, it's fine. 1353 East Gate Street. The applicant, please come forward, 1353 East Gates Street. Please state your name and whether or not you've been sworn in. You gotta get a lot closer to the
You
mic.
can move the mic.
There's a regional contractors. Yes, I've been sworn in.
Okay.
Excuse me, against sworn in, Dorothy Ragland, 13 Skate Street. You know.
Okay.
I'm a sworn in regional contractors. I've been sworn in.
Okay, thank you. We'll hear from the city, then we'll come back to you.
You guys could sign in that sheet too.
Madam Chair, the BZA 21-079 at 1353 East Gate Street, located on the south side of East Gate Street, approximately 100 feet west of Berkeley Road. This is within the Columbus Southside Area Commission and the R2 residential district. The 0.39 acre site is developed with a single unit dwelling with a 483 square foot attached garage. Surrounding the site are other single unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to add a detached 576 square foot garage to the site, just south of the existing garage. A variance is requested to increase the maximum garage area on the lot from 720 square feet to 1,059 square feet. Planning is supportive of this application. The site plan and elevation show that the garage will be accessed in the rear of the property, meeting Columbus citywide planning policies, guidelines regarding accessory buildings. The Division of Traffic Management has no comment regarding this application. on the Southside Area Commission recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval as the requested increase in garage square footage has been found to be compatible with the principal structure and lot size. The garage will be accessed in the rear of the property, meeting C2P2 guidelines regarding accessory buildings, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Anybody who's going to speak on the application? Ma'am, please. Do you have anything to add to what the city?
No, I
Okay.
have a question now.
Sure, go ahead.
I want to know if this permit is going to be approved.
We're gonna talk through it right now. Any questions? Anybody here to speak about this application?
I'll call the question.
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Bowley,
Yes.
Mr. Demora,
Yes.
Chair Plummer Bailey.
Yes, variance is granted, look at the project.
Just a quick note for the applicant, this was for your variance application, this is not. You'll have to get it sorted out.
Mm-hmm. 919 Bellows Avenue.
Brian Henry, I did not swear.
Okay. You promise the testimony you give tonight will be true, nothing but the truth, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think that applicant should ask for a table.
Ask for that, should we table it?
So you have to have 3 votes to have approval, and there's only 3 of us here tonight. So, you can table if you want to try your chances when there's 5 of us here.
Is that a full vote, all 5 of them?
No, you have to have 3, but there's only 3 of us here tonight. So you would have to get all 3 of us to have approval, and, one of our members has indicated that he is not in favor of projects.
Can I table it, can I just ask questions of what's
Yes.
for?
I have been consistent in voting against lot splitting to build more buildings for the purpose of making a profit and reducing parking spaces in already crowded neighborhoods. So I've consistently voted no on all of them.
Yeah, I would like to table.
Table request, is anybody here wishing to, hold on, is anybody here wishing to be heard on whether or not this application should be tabled? Ma'am, please go forward.
Hi.
Well, we got to get your name on the record when you just start speaking.
Yes, my name is Andrea Arndt, and I own and occupy 923 Bellows Avenue.
Okay, go ahead.
Next, adjoining, right next to the.
Okay,
I'm sorry, your address again? 923 Bellows.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted, I had to take off work early today to be here, so just, so for convenience.
Yeah, go ahead, state your.
Yes, and so I would pretty much what Mr. Demora meant, this is, I feel like, reading from the applications, the considerations the zoning board makes, I do feel this is a substantial, variance, especially with regards to the parking, you're cutting the required parking down, in half. And we already have a parking problem, I would say noted by the fact that the property as is current 919, there are cars that park on the grass. So to me, that's an indication there's already a parking issue. To add a 3-unit structure would only increase that, as well as lead to crowding. Currently in the area surrounding this property, it's single-family homes and duplexes, so I think it would look out of place, as well as crowding. So those are my main concerns.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Can you please sign the sign?
Is anybody else here wishing to speak on this? Okay, so we have a table and request. Can you call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Demora,
Yes.
Mr. Lovely,
Yes.
Mayor Palmer Bailey.
Yes, tabling granted.
Come back next month then.
Whenever the notices can get out, I don't know when that's, can't promise that's next month, but you can work with staff to get that.
Yeah.
Then this same table for the next applicant, the next application, which I'm representing.
Oh, you got the next case too?
Next,
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
14. Okay. You're requesting a table for that as well? Okay. Is anybody here to speak about 612, 614 East Second Avenue? Okay. Table and request, please call the roll.
All right, Mr. Lovely,
Yes.
Mr. Demora,
Yes.
Mayor Palmer Bailey.
Yes, tabling granted, thank you. Uh-huh. Okay, case number 733 East Hubbard Avenue. Please state your name and whether or not you've been sworn in.
Zerman, under sworn in.
Derek Bonar with the Wood Company is also not sworn in.
Okay, raise your hands, please. You promise that the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, nothing but the truth. Please state, I do.
I do.
Thank you. Sign your name on the sign-in sheet, please.
Okay, 33 East Hubbard Avenue is located at the southeast corner of East Hubbard Avenue and North Pearl Street. Site is within the Italian Village Commission in Zone C4 Commercial. Just a little bit of a background. This may look familiar to you all because the applicant previously proposed the construction of 65 dwelling units, maximum height of 81 feet, and 65 parking spaces, combined on-site and off within 700 feet. City Council variance 18-031 was granted to permit development of the site as proposed. Those granted variances include allow AR1 uses in the C4 district, increase the height of the building from 81 feet, produce a vision clearance triangle to allow 0-foot clear vision triangle at the intersection of Pearl Alley and Hubbard, and to allow minimum 0-foot building setback on Hubbard Avenue. The applicant is now proposing to reconfigure the on-site parking and improve parking garage by allowing maneuvering through stacked parking spaces and a reduction in length of the parking spaces, of 65 of the parking spaces, from 18 feet to 16 feet. In site plan here. There's no council adaptive plan for this area. The site does follow the Italian Village Architectural Review Commission area. The Italian Village Commission has recommended approval. The Division of Traffic Management requests that a commitment shall be added to the board order that states the pair of stacked parking spaces shall be assigned to individual dwelling units. Staff can recommend approval with the following commitment as requested by the Division of Traffic Management. Again, reiterating that pairs of stacked parking spaces will be assigned to individual dwelling units. I'm sure we'll turn it back over to you.
Anything to add to the application?
Yes, please, thank you. As Jamie said, this is a project that this board is familiar with. Unfortunately, when we went through earlier this year, we missed the necessary parking variances that we're asking for today. The applicant is proposing to, I believe, 2 subfloor or subground level parking levels, and which is a big commitment. And then this variance that we're asking for today will ask us, or allow us to park as we feel is appropriate for the site. As Jamie said, we have support from the developer, the Division of Traffic Management, and the Planning Department, who recommended support to the Italian Village Commission, and they voted unanimously 5-0 to support the variances. I'd be happy to answer any questions that this board has. Thank you.
And you're in agreement that the pairs of the stacked parking spaces, you're gonna assign those to the individual dwelling units?
Yes, that's correct. And that commitment is also in the statement of purchase.
Okay.
So hypothetically, I'm sure you know that I voted against this variance to start with. Now, obviously, this is not gonna stop the project, because, this is just a parking variance, but, I mean, theoretically, if I vote no, what happens?
Thank you, Mr. Kimura. I think in that case, we would have to reduce parking and, it might, to the point where it might not be appropriate, or it might not fulfill the need that we see for the property. With the parking, it's a mixed use property now with the office in the first floor and residential.
Obviously, these are variances that I think make sense. Obviously, given the same apartment, more than one spot they're stacked, if they can't work out their own parking, then it's their own fault, and 18 feet to 6 feet, that's, so, it's not, you're not reducing any spaces though, right? There's no reduction of any. Right. All right, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, because what you're doing is saying we're stacking them instead of being 18 and 18 and 16 and 16.
Jamie, if you could pull up that, please. You'll see on the 2 layers on the right of each of those levels, there's stacked parking spaces. The ones that are closest to the wall are dimensioned reduced. The blue ones are 17 feet and the yellow ones are 16 feet in depth. They all have the code required 9-foot width. So it's just those spaces that are closest to the wall on each of the levels. And again, we're committing that they're going to be to the same dwelling unit, the stacked spaces.
Okay, I'm okay.
Okay. Is anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Any other questions from the board?
No, I'll call the question.
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Demore?
Yes.
Buckaloo?
Yes.
Chair Palmer Bay?
Yes, variance is granted. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 8.
Yeah, number 8.
This one was included in the agenda, but no notices were sent.
Okay, so we're just giving them.
Yeah.
Okay. 3230 West Broad Street.
I'm Jeffrey Brown, attorney for the applicant. I've been sworn.
And I'm John Oney, architect for the applicant.
You promise the testimony again tonight with the truth, nothing but the truth. Please say I do.
I do.
Thank you. If you guys can both sign on the signing sheet, and then we'll hear from the city and get back with you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 3230 West Broad Street is located at the northeast corner of West Broad and North Sylvan Avenue, served by the Greater Hilltop Area Commission and Zone C4 Commercial. The 1.2 acre subject site is made up of 9 parcels and developed with an office building, used car lot, auto repair shop, and associated parking, separated by 2 intersecting alleys. Surrounding uses include offices to the west and south, the commercial building and lumberyard to the west, apartments and single-unit dwellings to the north and east, the 2-unit dwelling and gas station to the east, and auto sales and service to the south. The applicant proposes to combine and redevelop the parcels with a multi-building collision repair facility. All current structures would be raised. Access from Broad Street would be removed, and access to the new buildings, building A and B, south and north respectively, would be provided on North Sylvan Avenue. 1 south and 1 north of the alley. The isolated parcel along Oral Avenue would be dedicated to surface parking. Variances are to reduce the parking setbacks along Sylvan and Oral Avenues from 10 to 5 feet, to reduce building A's building setback along Broad Street from 25 feet to 15, to increase building A's maximum setback along Sylvan Avenue from 25 to 45 feet, to reduce the parking setback along Broad Street from 25 to 15 feet, reduce building A's minimum width 60% of the lot width to 50 to allow parking and circulation between the principal building and Sylvan Avenue. And the last 5 variance requests pertain to the CCO applied to building A south of the alley. CCO doesn't apply to the north. Planning Division notes limitations preventing the building setback being placed within the required distance range, including traffic considerations. Have no further comments on building placement support as presented. Staff support the design standards variance as the elevations are overall consistent with C2P2 design guidelines. C2P2 recommend parking be hidden to the greatest extent possible and landscaping and screening placed between the lot and right of way. After receiving additional information on landscaping that includes street trees, planning is in full support. Greater Hilltop recommended approval of the request, and city departments can recommend additional approval. Apart from the building setback variance, which is constrained by traffic considerations, the proposal is consistent with C2P2 in that the parking is being hidden to the greatest extent possible, and the building elevations are consistent with design guidelines. So the conditions are that they commit to the stamped landscape plan, which shows street trees and shrubs beyond required by code, and that the applicant commit to unpainted and original colors for the brick material, which was a condition requested by the community group. Madam Chair.
I'm Jeff Brown. We agreed to the 2 conditions in the staff report. As staff has indicated, this is a redevelopment. The property is basically being used as an auto and body repair shop, and we're going to do the same use, but we're going to put it in brand new buildings with landscape and setbacks, et cetera. We originally wanted to put the building hard on the corner, but that would require us to continue to use the existing curb cut on West Broad Street. And after numerous discussions with the traffic folks, they said we could not have access to East Broad Street, which caused us to have to flip the building and the resulting variances as a result of the different building location.
So that's basically causing all the different parking setbacks.
Yes, it's a little different. The front piece is subject to the community commercial. And then the back 2 pieces are not. In addition to that, the city has requested 10 feet of additional right-of-way along West Broad Street. So we initially met the requirements along West Broad Street, but with the taking of the additional right-of-way, that's why we need the variances along West Broad Street.
Okay.
I have a question. Do you currently own the parcels, or is this?
No, we own the property. My client owns the property.
Okay, I just didn't want to suggest this may be like an if-come type opportunity, so I appreciate that.
Okay, anybody here to speak about this application? Anybody else have any other questions?
I'll call a question.
Questions been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Mobley,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey.
Yes, variance is granted. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Is this the site plan that I'm just saying?
The landscape plan, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
$1177 West Third Avenue. Hi, state your name, whether or not you've been sworn in.
Kimberly Mechanic, I'm the architect of the project, and I have not been sworn.
Raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you give tonight will be the truth, nothing but the truth? Please state I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is BZA 21-096 at 1177 West Third Avenue, located at the southeast corner of West Third Avenue and Virginia Avenue. The within the Fifth by Northwest Area Commission in Zone C4 Commercial. The 0.1 acre site is developed with a commercial building within the West Third Avenue Urban Commercial Overlay. The UCO grants a 50% parking reduction to the proposed retail uses and 25% reduction to the existing office uses. Surrounding the site are commercial development to the north and east along the West Third Avenue corridor. To the west are multi-unit dwellings. To the south are single-unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to convert a portion of the building from office into a salon. The remainder will stay office. A variance is requested to accommodate increased parking requirements from the conversion, thus reducing the minimum number of additional required parking spaces from 1 to 0. Planning supports the request after modifications were made to the site plan to include bicycle parking. Columbus citywide planning policy states that parking variances may be considered based on pedestrian accessibility, access to transit, and the extent of the variance requested. And that bicycle parking be provided if the site is within a walkable neighborhood and is in close proximity to public transit. Planning requested that bicycle parking be provided for consistency with D2P2 design guideline recommendations. The Department of Public Service supports the requested variance to reduce the minimum number of parking spaces, as this request does not meet the criteria for a parking study to be required for the Department of Public Service parking variance review guidelines. The Fifth by Northwest Area Commission recommends approval of this request. If you remember last month, they had tabled it pending a agreement that is within your staff report today. City departments can recommend approval as Third Avenue with a walkable environment, and the applicant has committed to providing additional bike parking, and that condition is 2 U-shaped bicycle rack will be provided, which the applicant has agreed to. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, requesting for reduction of parking. Anything else to add to the application?
Not really. It's somewhat straightforward. Site doesn't offer parking as it is, and we don't feel we're adding greatly with this change of use, and we've, of the other businesses across Third Avenue, which operate opposite hours, we're willing to work with us to provide overflow if we need it.
And you are gonna provide bicycle racks?
Yes, we're gonna provide 2 U-shaped racks near the entrance to the salon.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Is there anybody here to speak about this application?
I'll call question.
Questions been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Baldwin,
Yes.
Mr. Demora,
Yes.
Yes, answer granted, thank you.
Thank you.
264 Carpenter Street.
Laurie Gunselman, Gunselman Architecture this morning.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Laurie Gunselman, Gunselman Architecture this morning.
Uh, 264 Carpenter Street is located on the east side of Carpenter Street, approximately 123 feet south of Dryden Alley. It's within the Near East Area Commission and is zoned R3 residential district. The 0.05 acre site is currently vacant. Surrounding the site are single-unit dwellings, 2-unit dwellings, vacant lots, and the Blackburn Park Center to the west. The applicant proposes to construct a 3-story dwelling with a basement and attached 1-car garage. Variances are requested to reduce the rear yard and reduce the minimum side yards on the north and south side. Planning supports the request after modifications were made to the site plan to reduce the driveway width from Carpenter Street. The Near East Area Plan states that the overall goal for incorporating new construction into the neighborhood is compatibility, not imitation or creation of a false historic appearance. The size, proportions, and massings of a new building should be compatible with nearby structures. New curb cuts should be discouraged. Driveways and garages should be located behind the house, and attached garages with doors facing the street are not acceptable. Additionally, 25% or more of the total lot should be preserved as rear yard space. Planning recognizes the limitations created by the parcel size and the lack of an alley, and therefore supports the front-facing garage and reduced rear yard. The proposed single-family home design is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood in terms of height, width, setbacks, and massing. The Division of Traffic has no comment regarding this application, and the Near East Area Commission recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval as the site plan is consistent with the Near East Area Plan, noting the limitations of the lot size and lack of alley. The proposed design is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood in terms of height, width, setbacks, and massing. And we can recommend approval with condition that the applicant shall commit to the stamped site plan. Here, if you have any questions.
Thank you. Okay, ma'am, you have anything else to add? Any questions for the applicant?
Normally defer to our architect, but he's not here. I like, it's neat to me, but I'm not about architecture.
Right. Anybody here to speak about this application?
Call a question.
This is the site plan you want me to stamp?
Yes, that's it.
Thank you.
I guess I have a question. So this parcel with one car garage fits the entire structure?
Say that again.
The one car garage, like to me, it almost looks like it's bifurcated and it's a 2-unit type dwelling.
It's the one car garage is attached, it basically takes up the first floor. There's a small living space in the.
But it's only one parcel for
It's one-
one family, right?
Right, one
Okay, I guess that was my question. So you would stack in parking for whoever else. needs to be.
Right, and there's a surface parking in front of that, which is why there's a rear yard.
Okay.
Reduction.
Yeah, as Bill said, we're not architects, but it kind of looked like it may be.
I get it.
So-
You're just saying all 4 elevations in this at the same time.
Thank you.
Okay, ready to call the question?
Call a question.
Question's been called, please call the roll.
All right, Mr. Weatherly,
Yes.
Mr. Demora,
Yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey,
Yes, variances granted, look at projects.
Thank you.
6360 Fiesta Drive. Please state your name and whether or not you've been sworn in.
I have been sworn in, Greg Rice.
Okay,
I have been sworn in, Jordan Sickus.
okay. Sign your name on the sheet.
Right, 6360 Fiesta Drive is located on the east side of Fiesta Drive, approximately 1,200 feet south of West Dublin Grandview Road, within the Northwest Civic Association and is own M2 Manufacturing District. The 1.62 acre site is currently developed with a commercial building. Surrounding the site are other commercial businesses and warehouses. The applicant proposes to add an additional parking area with associated landscaping and striping revisions for the business, and a variance is requested to reduce the parking setback line from 50 feet to 11 feet. Planning generally supports the requested variance, but recommends that the applicant work with the city forester on the addition of street trees along Fiesta Drive to mitigate the impacts of a decreased setback. The Division of Traffic Management had no comment regarding this application, and the Northwest Civic Association recommends approval of the request. Staff can recommend approval as the Northwest Plan does not address this matter. Staff can recommend approval with the following condition: that the applicant shall commit to the stamped site plan and will work with the city forester in regards to adding street trees, which they've already done. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. So street trees already done. Anything else to add about this application? Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
I don't.
Anybody here to speak about this application?
Wrong question.
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Waddle?
Yes.
Mr. Demora?
Yes.
Chair Plummer Bailey?
Yes, variance to granting the project.
Thank you. Thank you.
47 North Monroe Avenue. Please state the name, whether or not you've been sworn in, please.
My name is Julie Bullock and I have been sworn in.
All right, 47 North Monroe Avenue is located on the west side of North Monroe Avenue, approximately 350 feet north of East Broad Street. Site is zoned R2F and is within the Near East Area Commission. 7,000 square foot site is developed with a 3,036 square foot single unit dwelling in a residential neighborhood. The applicant proposes converting an attached garage to living space and constructing a detached garage in the rear of the lot. Request variances to legitimize existing conditions, the existing dwelling, to reduce the sum of the required side yards from 8 feet to 3 feet 8 inches, and to reduce the minimum side yard from 3 feet 6 inches on the south side, from 3 feet to 6 inches on the south side. And lastly, variance to increase the height of a proposed detached garage from 15 feet to 19 feet 6 inches. It should be noted that in May of 2016, these exact variances were applied for and approved by the board. But due to financing, the project was delayed and the variances expired. Planning states that the proposal is consistent with the guidelines of the Near East Area Plan. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments regarding this application. And the Near East Area Commission recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval as the proposal is consistent with the guidelines of the Near East Area Plan, and we have no conditions. Sarah?
Okay. Ms. Bullock, anything else to add?
Yes, so the existing attached garage is not really large enough for a garage. It's not deep enough to even put a car in. So, two of the variances are simply because that piece of the property is too close to the property line. The garage in the rear, we're just matching the height of and the pitch of and the details of the existing house. It's a very tall, it's a beautiful historic home. So he wanted the garage to match the character of the home, which is why we have the garage the height we do.
So I have a stupid question that I think my colleague, Mr. Jones, would appreciate. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, but is there some kind of, does he always ask for something that's so short, one property to the other?
The maintenance easement.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah. So he always asks for, if something that's short, if there's a maintenance agreement, an easement with the other property owner, because you can't obviously do, if you have to go fix that side, only 6 inches, obviously you can't fit a human being in there.
Well, it's existing now.
It's existing now.
So I would assume, and it's stucco, so he actually hasn't had to do much maintenance at all, frankly. Yes, I would assume that he has some sort of agreement because it's been there for 40 years, 50 years.
Oh, just because it's been there doesn't mean there's an agreement. It could just be existing now.
So we're adding that as a condition. You're agreeing to?
Sure, yes.
Mr. Jones to know that I,
Yes.
because we usually disagree on things, but this time I'm actually
Okay.
playing Mr. Jones, yes.
Is there anybody here that wishes to speak about this application? Do we have any other questions for the applicant? Do we have somewhere here that just says that the garage is not habitable space? Like,
Yeah, it's not habitable. It doesn't have any second floor. or
okay,
anything. It's not tall enough to do that. Basically, it's the pitch of the roof. that
gotcha,
throws us
okay,
over.
so we already have that covered. Okay, just want to make sure. You ready to call the question?
Well, question?
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Demora?
Yes.
Mr. Bubbly?
Question, Madam Chair, are we doing that with the condition?
If I probably-
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry, it was conditioned on the cross-access easement. Maintenance, access easement.
Then absolutely, yeah. Yes.
And Chair Palmer Bailey?
Yes, the answer is
Thank you for your time.
6143.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think just, to
Taking a 2-minute break. The next one is 6143 Ralston Drive.
What?
Right. So when Michael texted me, he sent me, he was like, I won't be there. I had a number. They can keep tabling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
Somebody threw, part of me didn't want to let the table. We wanted to go put the city attorney here to put through it.
Well, it worked out because Adam, the city attorney, doing research on case law, that decided, yeah.
Yeah, this, sometimes you keep saying that on the way.
I know that's kind of for me, like, it's not really relevant, what we're doing today. Maybe it's not even.
I was going to defer the two attorneys. You know, that's.
Well, I think even if you would have, heard it, just whatever, he goes to court. That's when they get into this one. We had to appeal the billboard a couple months ago to the grant commission. And the Collins were making.
One on campus?
Yeah.
One on campus, one I voted for that, didn't vote for that.
This was last couple months ago. This is for grant.
You know what I'm saying, but was a case of campus that, when I was on the grant commission.
This wasn't, oh, no, that's a mural. You know, that was
Okay.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
This is one that's been there since the 70s. And that's basically the here for 45 years, who cares? That was their argument. The commissioner thought, oh, you're right. Not really sweating it, because she knew it was going to go complete. And she was, that's when she. How long were you in that? Come on, easy air,
Yeah, BCA.
Looks like 24.
You know yourself though. when it gets
Here,
older, it seems like the charm.
Mm-hmm.
That's happening instead of. It's like, nah.
We do have one of the consideration.
You can tell. So it is great.
My bad.
So here, you took that one. I can buy it. Other one. That's right.
That's fine. I'm fine. Yeah, on your desktop.
Was it like
A while ago. And the time we. So the machine is buying.
Yeah, we just have a MacBook.
what we need to do?
Copy and paste in.
Do I have materials? Yeah. Yeah. I can. What me? But that's fine.
Ready?
Table.
You ready? Okay. 6143 Ralston Drive.
All right, 6143 Ralston Drive is located on the southwest corner of Ralston Drive and Lorette Court. It is located within the far west side area commission and zoned LR2 limited residential district. The site is developed with a single unit dwelling in a residential neighborhood. Surrounding uses are primarily single unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to legitimize the location of a privacy fence within the front yard along Ralston Drive and Lorette Court In addition, the applicant is proposing to legitimize a shed within the front yard along Lorette Court. Variances are to allow a fence exceeding 2.5 feet in height and to exceed 25% opacity when located in a required yard, and to reduce the building line along Lorette Court from 25 to 15 feet. This application is a result of Code Enforcement Order 19470-05782. Planning supports the requested variance, but encourages the applicant to work with the city forester to add the addition of street trees in the public right-of-way along Robson Drive to mitigate the lot line reduction, which is consistent with the intent of the Big Darby Watershed Plan. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments, and the Far West Side Area Commission recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval with the following condition to be consistent with the intent of the Big Darby Watershed Plan, and that is that the applicant shall add street trees in consultation with the city forester, and they have done so. Thank you.
Okay. Can you state your name and whether or not you've been sworn in?
My name is Nathaniel Reed, and I have not been sworn.
Okay. If you raise your right hand, promise that the testimony you give tonight will be the truth and the truth, please state I do.
I do.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to this application?
Nope. That's pretty good.
Okay. And so what is the need for the 100% opacity fence?
The fence that's there now is a wooden fence.
Correct.
And then the reduction of the building line is because there's a shed in the front yard.
Gotcha. So we're just,
But this is not really, this is like a corner in the middle of a weird
It's-
shaped
yes.
lot.
gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Placed on the property. Board members, I think it should be noted that 4 or 5 months ago, we did the exact same variance for this. I think this lot right here.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for this applicant? Anybody here to speak about this application? All right, ready to call the question?
I'll call the question.
Mr. Demora?
Yes.
Mr. Goldley?
Yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey?
Yes, variance granted, thank you.
Thank you.
7540 Alta View Boulevard. Can you state your name and whether or not you've been sworn in?
David Acuna, I've been sworn in. James Peltier, and I have not been sworn in.
Okay, can you raise your right hand? You promise that the testimony you give tonight will be the truth and you get the truth, please state I do.
I do.
Thank you. Sign your name on the roll, then we'll come back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 7540 Alta View Boulevard is located at the southeast corner of Alta View Boulevard and Worthington Woods Boulevard, served by the Far North Columbus Communities Coalition and Zone M2 manufacturing. 7.5 acre corner lot site is currently undeveloped. The terrain is flat and it includes an access point at the northeast corner of Worthington Woods Boulevard. Surrounding uses include an industrial shop and mini warehouse to the west, apartments to the north and east, and an industrial warehouse center to the south. The applicant proposes to construct a new 285,000 square foot data center with a 10-foot tall security fence around the perimeter, approximately 30 feet from Worthington Woods Boulevard and 40 feet from Alta View Boulevard. The variance is to reduce the minimum required building setback from 50 feet to 28 feet along Worthington Woods and 38 feet along Alta View for the fence only. The building itself would comply with the 50-foot setback. The Far North area plan states that buffers and screening should be provided between residential and commercial uses, and the screening should consist of structures and or landscaping to a minimum height of 6 feet with 90% opacity. Additionally, the Far North area plan states that convenient, safe, well-marked pedestrian connections should be provided between the site and adjacent development and from the public street to the entrance. Planning Division is in support of the proposal, noting the inclusion of a sidewalk along Alta View as well as additional information regarding screening from the adjacent residential to the east. Staff encourages working with the city forester on the addition of street trees along Worthington Woods and Alta Boulevards and support reaching resolution as part of the final site compliance. And they are currently showing the street trees on the site plan. No comments from traffic, and Far North Columbus Communities Coalition recommended approval of the request. City departments recommend conditional approval. The proposal is consistent with the area plan, which recommends screening of commercial uses from residential and pedestrian connectivity between site and public street. The applicant shall provide privacy screening with the fence along the eastern property line.
So you're in agreement with the privacy screening?
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else to add to this application? Okay.
Are we gonna stamp the site plan on this?
No need, just the commitment to the privacy screening.
Okay. Okay, anybody have any, is there anybody here that wishes to speak about this application? Do you have any other questions for the applicant?
Well, question?
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Wellney,
Yes.
Mr. DeMore,
Yes.
Chair Colville.
Yes, variance is granted, thank you.
Thank you.
2675 Sawmill Forest Avenue.
Yeah, very few comments on the wall, other than maybe felt that it wasn't in keeping with the neighborhood. No one else has a wall. But the wall, I think, is aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't detract from the neighborhood. But yeah, my feeling was more out of my statement that this wall had been successful painting or their experiences were other. And I have spoken with the neighbors who's been mostly impacted. I spoke with them the day after that we had several great conversations via the phone. He in fact told me he doesn't really care about the wall.
So what's the timing for the additional fencing to protect the homeowner?
Oh, that would be, well, hopefully we can have this passed, we keep the same height. The wall, I would estimate before the end of the year. And we have agreed to the street tree. In fact, I spoke with our landscaper today, asking about an update. He has one of the species recommended on hold at the nursery. It's just pending getting the application in for a street.
Would it make sense to table this issue until you come back with all of the criteria for the protection of the homeowner?
I would prefer not to. I've already mentioned it to the area commission. They have no opinion either way on adding fence or not. And we're talking maybe something between 36 and 42 inches high. Somewhat decorative.
It could be a condition of the BZA to add the picket fence. Or the metal wrought iron fence. We don't have any information on this proposed.
Right. This recently came up with a meeting, an entire team meeting for behavioral support staff. And everyone was in agreement that that probably helped the situation. Obviously, we can't keep her from anything from home. Be able to at least exit egress or egress.
We'll come back to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2200 Spiegel Drive is located at the northeast corner of Spiegel Drive and Shook Road, served by the Far South Columbus Area Commission, Zone M Manufacturing. The 16-acre site is developed with a distribution center and associated parking. The applicant also controls the vacant parcel to the north. Surrounding uses include warehouses to the west, north, and east, and the cold storage facility to the south. The applicant was granted a special permit by the BZA in January 2021 for a 20-foot by 44-foot trailer for a period of 6 months. The applicant proposes to install a portable building as a break room for the warehouse for a period of 4 to 6 months. The larger 24 by 68-foot trailer would be located along the front of the building along Spiegel Drive. A special permit is required to allow the portable building. Neither the South Central Core nor C2P2 design guidelines address the issue. So no comment from Planning Division or from Traffic Management. Far South Columbus Area Commission recommended approval. Other requests and city departments again recommend approval with a condition. The proposal appears to be consistent with the general purpose and intent of the M district and is compatible with the character of the neighborhood. We recommend the special permit be valid for 6 months, which is what the applicant is proposing, 6 months from the date of the board order, Madam Chair.
Okay, 6 months is gonna be enough time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody here to speak about this application?
Well, question.
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Wellman,
Yes.
Mr. DeMore,
Yes.
Chair Palmer, go ahead.
Yes, special permit granted, thank you.
Fire safety concerns. While the University District Plan recommends that public, semi-public, private, and private spaces should be demarcated clearly through the use of landscape walls, fences, and gates to denote the boundaries and or buffer, staff acknowledge the potential fire safety issues inherent to the request and will not condition support on the revision. But we do have the condition that the applicant shall commit to the stamped site plan. Thank you.
Okay, you have anything to add about this application? Okay.
Oh, and I just wanted to note the emergency generator will be permanent.
Okay.
The generator, what, faces the river or
On the opposite side of the building is the river. So there's a,
it faces all this, what used to be the Holiday Inn kind of thing?
So there's an L shape and then it's on the right side of the building.
Well, what screens it? There is the
The fence in, metal screen.
oh,
Fence.
questions? Any other questions for the applicant? Is there anybody here to speak about this application?
Call the question. Oh, sorry. Call the
Question. Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Wellman,
Yes.
Mr. DeMora.
Yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey.
Yes, Variances granted, good luck with the project. 807 Hamlet Street.
And I have, there's 2 pages of emails that I received of opposition of this. One I forwarded to you earlier today and one I received right before the meeting.
Okay, state your name, please, when you're not even sworn in.
Hi, my name is Kareem Amr and I have not been sworn in yet.
Okay, is anybody here also not been sworn in? Okay, so you've not been, have you guys been sworn in? Yeah, but have you been sworn in? Okay, so go ahead and raise your hand. You promise that the testimony you give tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Okay, sign your name on the sign-in sheet and we'll go to the city and then we'll come back to you.
Ready? 807 Hamlet Street is located on the west side of Hamlet Street, approximately 300 feet north of Lawrence Street. It's located within the Italian Village Commission and it is an R4 residential district. The site is currently developed with a single unit dwelling. Surrounding uses include single unit dwellings as well as multi-unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to demolish the existing detached garage in the rear yard and replace it with a two-story detached garage. Variances are requested to reduce the minimum side yard from 3 feet to 2 feet and to increase the allowable height of the detached garage from 15 feet to 22.9 feet. There is no council adopted plan for this area. The site does fall within the Italian Village Architectural Review Commission area. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments regarding this application. The Italian Village Commission recommends approval of this request. And City Department can recommend approval for sites that lie within an Architectural Review Commission area. Staff defers to the recommendation for building design, in this case, an increase in height. The Italian Village Commission recommends approval. Staff can recommend approval with the following condition, that the applicant shall commit to the provided site plan.
I'm just reading.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make note that I did speak to the Italian Village Commission, and they also believed that it was for a home office gym and not a carriage home, which is, I believe, what the emails are referring to.
Okay. Mr. Say, I'm here.
Yes.
Okay.
To contracts or what have you to settle those externalities. Just to provide some context, we have done some structures in Italian Village. Just recently, we did get a council variances for a carriage house. And it should we have desired to do a similar use, we would have gone through that. Neighbors had almost identical concerns. We went into contracts with them. We put them as administrators on towing contracts for parking. And we have not heard any complaints since. We would have been happy to do the same again if we were provided more of a courtesy on timing. And we're still amenable to doing those things. But that's essentially all I'd like to add.
So the video I watched from somebody whose email was forwarded by the city shows a guy basically saying, I'm gonna use other people's money and this is gonna be an Airbnb thing. That's what the guy who supposedly owns the house says in this, whatever, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it was that I watched. So I don't know if you're the person in the video or not, because I can't tell. But the person in the video that I saw says that this house is a carriage house and they're gonna use it for an Airbnb.
Sure. One, that is not me, that is the owner. The owner is not a real estate professional or developer. He does utilize social media to procure investments, what have you. For the sake of his social media presence, he did say he's gonna use it as a carriage house. I don't think he understands the distinction for the zoning code of a two-story garage as opposed to a carriage house. So I don't think he was able to make that distinction in that video, so.
Well, the video was clear to me that he's trying to make a profit because he wanted to rent the house out and, he's gonna upcharge it. You get to charge more when he sells this thing or whatever because he has a garage and now he's gonna have an upstairs house and the Airbnb is gonna pay for the stuff. I mean, it was clear to me with the guy, what he said in the video, and I saw it for myself. So, I mean, he's not here to refute that, no offense, but I mean, you can't tell me that's not what he meant to do.
Sure, and we'd be happy to sign the affidavits. I've made it very clear to him that that's not the case for all the approvals we've been getting. And until that, until those have been broken, those promises we made in our applications, and then can't say that that's the intent, because we've gone through all our applications with the intent that this will not be a dwelling. And again, if we wanted to make it a dwelling, we would have gone to city council variance.
About the fact that you have to have 3 votes to get approval, and tonight we only have 3 members here. We usually have 5. And so if one of us tonight, like one of us just did, says they're not gonna vote for it, then you might want to table and have it heard when there's more of us here that you can get 3 votes. Because if we take a vote and we say no, then the only way to come back to us is you have to have a significant change in facts in your application to have it reheard.
Okay, yeah, thank you for providing that clarity.
Okay.
I guess I would ask if you'd be amenable to approving with conditions that there's, I'd be happy to have them come to the next one. Same thing will be said. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, I just think that that would be helpful for everyone to hear him on the record and see and have him state his state of mind and agree and hear and listen and is that an issue?
no, it's not an
Okay.
issue at all. I was hoping, affidavit, conditions on. making
Yeah, but I
sure-
think sometimes you can look in the person's eye and you can.
Carriage house is proposed, I watched the commission minutes online. It was described as being an office. I can tell you right now, it's an Airbnb. We had 6 people walk up to us on Italian Village weekend for the festival, and they were asking us for parking behind our house. And there were 6 cars they had. But we know it's an Airbnb because every day there's somebody checking in and checking out. And it's online, and you can go to the Airbnb site and see it, which is fine. I mean, I guess that's allowed. But now they want to build a carriage house. And the one thing that really concerns me, first of all, parking's an issue. It is that they want to have a porch facing the backyard. There's no houses in that neighborhood that have porches facing into the backyards. They can look right into our house, our neighbor's house. And if it's just going to be an office, why do you need a porch? And if it's going to be an amenity for the people that live in the house, I really don't think that's appropriate to have a different group of people hanging out on a porch looking into our backyards and into our houses. So, I mean, if anything, they're going to put it, why wouldn't it be on the alley? Why would it be facing inward towards the other houses? It's a big concern of mine. There was a security sign, and see, I just don't think that there's some good faith going on here. There was a security sign on the front of the house for like the past 2 months. It said warning, cameras in use. So I guess it's to keep people, knowing that, hey, if you get out of control, we know who you are. Well, the sign was taken down today for some reason out of the blue, which I'm glad. I don't know what they did with it, but almost like before the meeting, the sign was taken down. It's if you go to the Airbnb site, you can see pictures of it on the house. So
Owner, I spoke to him on a couple of occasions when he first bought the house and told me and my husband that he and his girlfriend were moving in. Then I saw him another time in the alley and he told me that, oh, this is going to be a rental. It's going to be a long-term rental. I'm going to get good tenants that are going to be here a long time. And then next thing you know, it's an Airbnb. So that's why I don't have faith with the carriage house and seeing the video that he put out.
Madam Chair, if the overwhelming concern is the porch on the garage, I don't know if they provided any kind of elevations, but maybe an act of good faith would be for the applicant. Provided a garage elevation without a porch, if approved, we could stand for this.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jamie. The only elevations I see in here is just, I don't see a porch.
Yeah, the porch is on the bottom side.
Oh, I do see it on the left.
I mean, ma'am, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I live around the corner and as anybody in this board tells you, I'm very concerned about the neighborhood and everything else. And if the applicant provides all the stuff that we've asked him to, and brings the owner here and that stuff, even I have to vote yes, because, I mean, it's just increasing a garage, which we routinely do. Now, my concern was the fact that I saw the thing and he said it was gonna be a carriage house, which of course is not what this application calls for and would have to be dealt with council. But I'm saying if you provide stuff that to make sure that it's not gonna be a carriage house, then like I said, even I will have to vote for it because the law says, I mean, because I'm not opposed to the height variance of the garage. So I just make you aware, and like I said, I'm normally the biggest, lack of a better word, prick, for lack of a better word, on this board. So I'm just telling you up front. Okay, so, I mean, trust me, they'll tell you I'm the parking guy, but this is not asking for a parking variance. I mean, you're actually providing a garage, a bigger car garage. So, trust me, if it was a parking variance, I'd have been the first one again. And so I'm just saying, if they provide the stuff needed and the owner comes and somehow explains what he says in the public here and tells us that he's not gonna make it a carriage house, then I'm just saying that, otherwise the application might be, it'd be fine in my case, but instead I heard the carriage house, I saw the owner say carriage house, and that's my concern because the plans aren't a carriage house yet. He says to make it a carriage house, and that doesn't jive with it. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about, I looked back at the staff report and saw that the Italian Village Commission did recommend approval, and I was gonna ask you that process, what came out of, was there back and forth, was there give and take in that process? Did the plans change as a result of their input? Can you speak more to?
Right, absolutely. We have other projects, we've been there for 8 months going back and forth. They really like the design of this one, they commended it. There is, I drove the alley today, there's 5 similar structures, which are honestly way more grandiose and imposing on the neighborhood. We felt this design was appropriate, and again, they insisted on the porch facing the house. They thought it would be more, I guess, inclusive. They didn't want to impose on the alley. Again, I'll go back to the minutes and see their justification, but in an effort to not impose on